God is judging David. God is not happy with that kind of behavior. Parents, let me just bring you back home here. If your life does not please God because you are not faithful in your family, you are going out, you are leaving your home, you are leaving your bedroom, you are leaving your wife, you are leaving your children, or you are leaving your husband, and you are going out there. You are going out there for mischief and for adulterous relationship. David was going to receive judgment from God, and God is going to pass judgment over David. Look at the judgment in verse 10. God said to David, "Now therefore the sword shall never depart from your house, because you have despised me and have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. The sword shall not get out of your house." Meaning, in your family, your own son Absalom will rebel against you. And in his rebellion, many Israelites will die. Many Israelites will suffer. Not only that, God will bring evil against your house. God will bring evil against your house. And the story is also there. Look at chapter 13. I'm going to read for you the evil that came into David's house. Now, Absalom, David's son, had a beautiful sister whose name was Tamar. And after a time, Amnon, David's son, loved her. Now, this is Amnon, the son of David, loved Tamar, the daughter of David. And Amnon was so tormented that he made himself ill because of his sister Tamar, for she was a virgin, and it seemed impossible for Amnon to do anything to her. But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shimeah, David's brother. And Jonadab was a very crafty man. And he said to him, "O son of the king, why are you so haggard morning after morning? Will you not tell me?" Amnon said to him, "I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister." Jonadab said to him, "Lie down on your bed and pretend to be ill. And when your father comes to see you, say to him, 'Let my sister Tamar come and give me bread to eat and prepare food in my sight, that I may see it and eat it from her hand.'" So Amnon lay down and pretended to be ill. And when the king came to see him, Amnon said to the king, "Please let my sister Tamar come and make a couple of cakes in my sight, that I may eat from her hand." Then David sent home to Tamar, saying, "Go to your brother Amnon's house and prepare food for him." So Tamar went to her brother Amnon's house, where he was lying down, and she took the dough and kneaded it and made cakes in his sight and baked the cakes. And she took the pan and emptied it out before him, but he refused to eat. And Amnon said, "Send out everyone from me." So everyone went out from him. Then Amnon said to Tamar, "Bring the food into my chamber, that I may eat from your hand." And Tamar took the cakes she had made and brought them into the chamber to Amnon her brother. But when she brought them near him to eat, he took hold of her and said to her, "Come lie with me, my sister." She answered him, "No, my brother, do not violate me, for such a thing is not done in Israel. Do not do this outrageous thing. As for me, where could I carry my shame? And as for you, you would be one of the outrageous fools in Israel. Now therefore speak to the king, for he will not withhold me from you." But he would not listen to her. And being stronger than she, he violated her and lay with her. Then Amnon hated her with a very great hatred, so that the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he had loved her. And Amnon said to her, "Get up and go." But she said to him, "No, my brother, for this wrong in sending me away is greater than the other that you did to me." But he would not listen to her. He called the young man who served him and said, "Put this woman out of my presence," and bolt the door after her. What a tragedy. What a tragedy in a man's house, where a young man is practicing incest with his sister, lying with his sister, not just lying with his sister because she wanted, but raping his own sister. This is coming in because evil is now coming into the home of David. And this is so sad and a time that it is happening now. But you know that even today in this country, in our own area, you have relatives committing sexual immorality with each other. Even within a family, you have brother and sister committing sexual immorality. We have come to a point where there is no difference between what is happening here in this Bible story than what is happening today. Things are happening the way they are happening today because I also believe the trouble is on father, the trouble is on mother. It could be possible that as parents, we have never been role models to our children. Our examples have been poor, the way we have behaved. Our morals have been so low and so weak. And now what is happening could be a judgment, and we see how so bad a time Tamar went through. Amnon lusted after her, but having violated her, chased her out, kicked her out, and bolted the door after her, she went out a haggard, completely violated, weak woman full of shame. Her virginity was violated. And this is in the family. That's why in verse 11, we are going back to our reading. Thus says the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against you out of your own house. And then not only that, and I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbor, and he shall lie with your wives in the sight of this sun, in broad daylight. Beloved, this is so hard. This is something that when God speaks to a man like David, who loved God to begin with, but now he has fallen out of grace, he had violated a man, he killed a man, you would have thought David could have been dead by now, but you see, the sin is following the family. The sin is going to be even greater in the family. Now the brother has violated a sister, but do you also remember after that, his son Absalom overthrew the father, took over the kingdom, and David ran? But not only that, the worst thing was yet to come. In 2 Samuel chapter 16, let me read you this text and hear what is happening. In verse 20, then Absalom said to Ahithophel, give your counsel, give your advice, what shall we do? In verse 21, Ahithophel said to Absalom, go into your father's concubines, whom he left to keep the house, and all Israel will hear that you have made yourself a stench to your father, and the hands of all who are with you will be strengthened. So they pitched a tent for Absalom on the roof, and Absalom went into his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel in broad daylight, friends. In broad daylight. Can you imagine? He had already driven his father out of the capital in Jerusalem. The father is running away because he has taken over. Now this guy who is so crafty called Ahithophel, like Jonadab, who advised Amnon, is also now advising the son of David. He said, those concubines of your father, those wives of your father, he left them to look after the house. They are the ones you should go and lie with them. But you're not going to lie with them in a house. You're going to lie with them in broad daylight. Everybody will see what you are doing to your father's wives. Now, can it get any worse? Can it get any bitter? This is so hard for David, a man who is beginning to see the hand of God at him. He's going to be beginning to see judgment at him. And for me, I just want to say, in this country of Uganda, even in this land of Nebi where we are, the reason why many homes are breaking and there are many conflicts at home, even death are coming out of jealousy at home, is because our standard of morality is so low that we don't know how to respect each other. Today, any young man looks at any young woman, she's beautiful, he doesn't even know her, he wants to go after her like an animal. Even animals have instincts. Human beings should think wisely, but no, there is no wisdom. And today we even have a worse scenario where people are going for condoms because they know they're being protected. What kind of protection is that? External protection cannot be an answer. Supposing you don't have the condoms, and yet your heart has gone for a woman or gone for a man, what are you going to do? You can't stop because you do not have the control. The self-control is gone. And that is where today I believe, until we come back to God, there is judgment over this land. There is judgment over our diocese of Nebi, over this country, because morality has gone. People no longer now can see and respect each other. The women cannot even respect the men. The men cannot respect the women. Young people cannot respect each other. Respect for each other has gone. We are looking at a family struggling and struggling heavily. This is a suffering beyond any words. Let me read for you verse 12 of chapter 12. Verse 12, we are going back to our reading. This is what God is saying. In verse 12, for you did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun, meaning in broad daylight. David, when you called that woman into your chamber, when you laid with that woman in your bed, nobody saw you. God did. But now what will happen to your family is that things will happen in broad daylight. Everybody will watch what your son Absalom is doing to your concubines, doing to your wives. And yet these are wives of his father. The Lord does not permit it. But this is judgment over you. And this is painful. This is hard. This is difficult. For me, when I preach this, I'm emotionally charged because I can't understand how a man could put up with all these things.